Greetings. Please use the chairs in the brick wall to sit down and be comfortable. Our first speaker will be Mr. John Eberly, President and CEO of the Community Foundation for the Greater Capital Region. The Community Foundation for the Greater Capital Region likes to fund things that are on the edge of innovation. They believed in Youth² from the beginning.
Hey there, good to see everybody. Good afternoon. I just want a little disclaimer here. I wrote some words and I did not use AI for any of this, I promise. So again, my name is John Eberly. I represent the Community Foundation for the Greater Capital Region, and it's just an honor to be with you. Congratulations on 20 years. Oh my goodness, 20 years. It flew by, right? So the last time I was here, I think I talked about what precedes a vision. Do you remember that? What precedes a vision? You ever thought about that? People have vision, they go out and do things, and every now and then it's nice to step back and say, you know, what precedes a vision usually is something breaks your heart or something makes you really mad, right? And you want to go change the world. So I just thank you, Beverly, for changing the world because of what touched your heart. We really appreciate you.
All of those young people.
Yes. Yeah, and again, you know what? It's really about all of you. It's about moms, dads, caregivers, and it's about amazing young people who have a huge heart, and we are just helping facilitate them finding their vision and their future. And so what you've done through the years together is help transform the world, and that's what we need a little bit more of. So I have so many other things I wanted to say, but I'm just gonna actually read a quote from a very special friend. This is from Barbara Glaser. And the quote is, here it is, in quote, "In honor of Beverly's up and coming," I won't say the year, birthday. Okay, 70th birthday.
When I was 50, so.
Do the math, right? Okay. And 20 years of successful youth engagement and empowerment in Saratoga, $20,000 is gifted to the Youth² Fund at the Community Foundation.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Wow, I don't have something to say like that.
Barbara.
I did tell Beverly.
Dake, President of Stewart's Foundation at Stewart Shops, through the Holiday Match Fund of Stewart's, Ms. Susan Dake has supported Youth² since the year of 2003. Yes, for 20 years. She has professionally and personally supported the strength and the creative social action of youth. Okay, our next...
Okay. I love the mission, but I love the name too. You know, even a mathematic person that I'm not, I call myself math phobic, gets the whole squared thing, you know? And Youth², you've got youth vision and youth execution, and the youth benefit from the whole thing because they're leaders and they not only understand what they're trying to do, they figure out how to do it and how to raise the money for it. So the Youth², I just love it. It's great. And just to give a little history of me, when I was in high school, I was president of the Student Senate. So, you know, it was an all-girls school, so I got female leadership and how important it was to volunteer and to be involved. And then I went to Skidmore, and I was a drama major. Now they call it a theater major, a little bit classier. And we learned to speak up, because I've always felt like silence is just silence. So the fact that you have these kids learning to get up and make things happen is really great. So when Beverly came years ago, in the very beginning, I think,
Yes.
we were like, okay, we're in. And Stewart's is very happy to support this. And we would like to congratulate everybody who made it happen. All the kids, all the adults, all the donors, Barbara Glazer. So congratulations, you guys have done a great job. Thanks.
Our next speaker is Carrie Warner, the Assembly member for the 113th District of New York State Assembly. Ms. Warner has supported many events of Youth² in the past years. She has even organized her building to give us for our cause.
Hello, everybody. It is truly a pleasure to be here on the 20th anniversary of the founding of Youth². Seems like just yesterday we were at the 15th anniversary of Youth². Time flies when you're having fun. One of the questions that I often get asked is, what made you interested in public service? And my answer was, there was an adult, my 7th grade teacher, who did a unit in her social studies class on what does it mean to be a citizen, and about how important it was as a citizen to do volunteer work, to contribute to your community as a volunteer, to contribute to your community as an engaged citizen attending government meetings, to be involved in your community by helping in an electoral process, whether that's volunteering on a campaign or perhaps running for office. And it was that early adult influence on what it meant to be a citizen that stuck with me through all the years. And when eventually I turned 50, I said, okay, this is the moment. So I totally celebrate Beverly and her vision, because I know that she is instilling in the many, many youth who have been part of Youth² for the last 20 years, the lesson that service is leadership, and that if service is beneath you, then so is leadership, and that we are growing a community of young leaders who will make a huge difference, not just in our community, in our state, our nation, but really in our world. So it's a pleasure to be here today to celebrate 20 years. And as I often do when I go to a birthday party, I bring a citation to celebrate the occasion. So Beverly, if you and the girls will join me. New York State Assembly citation. Whereas the state of New York and the people of the 113th Assembly District are proud to represent meaningful contributions to our community. Whereas Youth², or Youth Helping Youth, was founded by Beverly Lazar Davis with the goal of providing high school students with the opportunity and support to envision and implement projects to help make the world a better place. And as we look around the room, we can see what those projects are. And whereas Youth², steadfast in its belief in the power of youth, has helped youth receive grants and guidance to organize social action based on their own creativity and passions in areas of social justice such as environmental protection, health and well-being, education equity, and lessening poverty and food insecurity. And whereas Youth² has equipped its members with many valuable skills, including public speaking, fundraising, web design, media relations, and networking that will help follow them into adulthood. And whereas Youth² has distributed several hundred copies of its book, The Book of Good Deeds, Volunteer and Social Action Opportunities in Saratoga County, to help youth discover volunteer opportunities in their own communities. And whereas Youth² has championed an innovative approach to cultivating youth philanthropy, and whereas it is the exceptional dedication, hard work, and vision of organizations that make our state strong and successful, now therefore be it proclaimed as a duly elected member of the New York State Assembly, I hereby recognize Youth² on the occasion of their 20th anniversary.
Here, here.
Thank you, Assemblywoman Carrie Warner. Our next speaker is Ms. Haley Choi. Ms. Choi was a board member during her vital high school years. Her philanthropic work was extensive with Youth² community giving fair, rummaging sale, designing brochures and posters, engaging in public speaking, and many fundraising events. She helped to design a community service reward board game, the Book of Good Deeds, and instituted our Community Service Incentive Award, where 2 high school students are given a $500 scholarship from Youth² for their community service during their high school career.
I'm Haley. I'm honored to be chosen to speak today. Thank you, Beverly, for having me. I can't believe it's been 10 years since I was on the Youth² committee, part of the board. So I'm an alum, and I was part of Youth² from 2008 into 2013, my 8th grade until my senior year of high school. So very fundamental years in my youth. And I can say it really inspired me to where I am today. I was brought in by some neighbors of mine. My brother Hunter actually sat on the board. My mom's on the board still today, Cindy Choi. So a little family affair, and through the years, Beverly has always been there for us. So one of my proudest achievements was actually helping to create the Community Service High School Scholarship, which goes to a high school senior who has given back to the community in some shape or form. The scholarship has given a total of $12,000 to 24 students over the 10 years since 2013. Youth² and Beverly have shown me the power one can do to its community, but when they're supported by a mentor, a group of like-minded people, youth, peers, and adults, the power can be monumental. Not only did I get to know my community better through the organization and give back, but I also was one of the many things that inspired me to get involved in the helping profession in the field I am in today. So after high school, I went on to St. Lawrence University, where I studied psychology. I got my master's in social work at Boston College, and I became a social worker. And now I work at RPI College, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, where I'm the assistant dean of and work with students every day. And I really think that honestly, it was really inspired by my work here in Youth² when I was a youth and by Beverly. Youth² always inspired me to be involved in my community in some way, whether that was the chair Relay for Life when I was in college or just giving back at blood drives. Along the way, Beverly was always a phone call away, whether it was for advice, mentorship, a recommendation, or around just for a cup of coffee or a walk. I'm so thankful for her mentorship over the years. And so I'll just leave you with this quote that I actually found from my senior year of high school. And I think it really is still true today, 10 years later. Being part of Youth² helps you to be in one organization, which teaches you about other local and global efforts. You become part of them and you're inspired by them because you're involved with giving them advice and financial support.
Our next speaker is Ella Daly, one of our youth leaders for this 20th anniversary event and a current board member. Ella has shown leadership in a variety of Youth² events, from leading an amazing pop-up on emergency and safety kits to increasing social awareness of invasive fish species. She has served Youth² since January of 2019.
My first, where I was a youth leader, I spearheaded a pop-up on safety supplies. After some research on rebuilding Saratoga, I reached out to the group and learned that they were in need of fire extinguishers, fire detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, first aid kits, and hand sanitizer.
Many of those items can make a difference in a life and death situation, so it was important to me that I knew that the people in our community had the items that they needed to remain safe during an unforeseen emergency. Specifically to the carbon monoxide detectors were important to me because carbon monoxide gas is odorless and undetectable by humans, which is why the detectors are so essential. Using this information, I organized an event where people could drop off safety supplies, and I supplied it to Rebuilding Saratoga where they could then distribute it. I also, in one of the 67 grants that Youth² has given out during the years, I received $500 I wanted to raise awareness about the problem of invasive fish and the damage that they do on our local ecosystem. We set up a table at Sustainability Fair where we sold in these bags that we made with a slogan that said "Invaders make bad neighbors," with a picture of a fishbowl that my friend designed, and we educated people on the issue of the invasive fish in our local waters and what they can do to help. And we raised over $1,000 for the Natural Heritage Trust, which operates under the DEC. So me and Eliza are very proud to be associated with this organization. There is Eliza Crackler, one of our youth leaders for this 20th anniversary event and current board member of Youth². Eliza has also shown leadership in a variety of Youth² events, from leading our very first pop-up, bringing warm socks and toothbrushes during times of early COVID, to leading Recycles Day efforts, to writing press releases, spreading and increasing the community knowledge of our work. She has served on the board since 2019, her 8th grade year. At Youth², our #1 commitment is to the community, and our first pop-up did just that. We responded to a need in the community for socks and toothbrushes in the homeless community. For that event, we set up tables and stations in the St. Clements parking lot to allow cars to drive by with their donated supplies to fill out care packages. To quantify the situation, at the conclusion of the event, we had gathered over 2,000 pairs of socks and a similar amount of toothbrushes, all from community response to our outreach efforts. This spurred the continuation of the pop-up events, which include the Walk with Ukraine, that responded to the growing refugee crisis in Europe. Set up in Congress Park and spearheaded by our board member, Saiba Jessel. It was a central location for Saratoga locals, and the event included face painting, Ukrainian-themed merchandise, live music, and a walk that showed our solidarity. We raised over $8,000 for the Save the Children organization. And those, between the two of us, those are only 4 examples of the many wonderful events we have done. That board over there and that board shows other examples of some of the pop-ups we have held in the past. But it is only possible because 20 years ago, Beverly had an idea and was passionate in her efforts to make an impact on the community. She has seen many young people come and go throughout all these years, but she has remained steadfast in continuing Youth²'s mission. We couldn't have done all this work and seen all this success without you, Bev. This is as much a celebration of Youth²'s achievements as it is the woman behind it all. Thank you.
It's really, come on in everybody. Come on in and have some refreshments. It's really great to be here and have this backyard party, because 20 years ago, we had a backyard party in the same spot when Youth² began. And I'm so happy that all of you are here celebrating what youth can do to make this world a better place. In this group, there are present and past board members. There are people who have been community helpers, like with the Walk with Ukraine, helping us do projects that are far bigger than our small board, and donors, big and small, who have supported the efforts of social action in the community action of youth. So everybody together is it's amazing. We have people here that have donated their professional talents. We have Lawrence White, photographer, who came up a couple years ago and said, I'd like to be your documentarian, and he's documented every event that we've had. People like Jeannie Pollard, who did all the signs for the Walk with Ukraine. People like Sarah Craig from Cafe Lena, who have always provided us a venue and have spread the word of our work. People like Bruce Clements, who has also provided us with specialized insurance. Parents of the youth that are here, thank you so much for supporting your young people to do such good work in the community. We have community networkers here that have woven youth into their organizations, like Margie Shepard with Sustainable Saratoga, Nancy Martinez with the Soroptimists, Julie Holmberg with the Unitarian Universalists, and Jenny Alexander with Saratoga Education Equity Network, and Eva Nagel with the Oakwood Community Pantry in Troy. You see, what I'm trying to say is that it takes all of you to sustain us. And without that kind of relationship, Youth² would struggle. And because so many people have stepped in and said, yes, yes, we'll have a youth come and speak to our group. Yes, we'll support your efforts in this way. So please, let's have a round of applause for all of you. On a more personal note, I want to share with you some things that have happened to me, one story in particular, during the last 20 years. I never realized that Youth² would become a situation, an organization, or where there'd be a request where I would write college recommendations. But I've done a lot of college recommendations in this volunteer effort. And I want to share with you one of the conversations that I had recently with a current member of our board who's not here today, but because she's in Minnesota. But so during a recent conversation with a current student board member, this is what was shared. This young woman shared that Youth² helped her to learn and practice the skill of approaching and talking with adults and feeling competent to do so. She said that before, as a 9th grader, she didn't think that adults in general listened to her or took her seriously. She had important things to say and a voice to be heard. She feels that Youth² has given her that voice. Over the years, as many people have stated, the youth on the board have learned a lot of leadership skills, financial skills, publicity, public relations skills, skills of research, interviewing, networking, motivation, and team management, just to name a few. But youth have also shared with me projects that have been passionate to them. And you're going to be hearing from one youth right after I speak about something coming up. It's been so delightful and so meaningful to me to see the creativity and the sensitivity in the youth on the board and the youth that we've worked with. They know that women coming out of prison may not have money for hygiene supplies. They've known that different communities haven't had rice or peanut butter in their homes because of the food bank's shortage. They've known about different things that they've researched, and why these pop-ups have been created is that, youth felt during COVID that transportation was important. Some people hardly had enough money for food. How could they get to work? And so these are the reasons why youth created these efforts. Youth² has been an organization which I've appreciated because we're so small. We've been able to respond to things that happen in our world and be able to respond quickly. And that's in regard to environmental disasters, tsunamis, floods, hurricanes, water crises, to human disasters of war, social injustices, and gun violence, to health and well-being issues of women's health and mental health and food insecurity. So it's great that Youth² has given a place for these actions to take place. After nearly 27 years in the mental health field, one of the things that really motivated me in beginning Youth² was that I found that when youth are involved in doing good for other people, they learn about themselves and their mental health is nourished. And that's why on the back we put Gandhi quote of, the one way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. I've seen so many young people feel so good about themselves after doing an event and being part of these efforts. So I want to thank everyone for supporting Youth² in all these many ways, but I want to have a big round of applause to the youth who have really helped our local community and the world community. So thank you.